welcome to Podcast vs. Play episode 251. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who asked his dealer for some fat dope and he sold him James Corden.
Oh my god, that was like a bullet. Oh my lord. Wow. Good fucking grief. Oh Christ. Sorry.
It's only bloody Dan!
Hello.
Back where you belong.
Hello. I'm doing my own echo chamber. I'm going to start doing my own ASMR videos.
Ooh. That like your Tokyo drifting videos.
What do they do? I don't actually know. I was just going to do...
you feel like...
Oh, no, it's like... Oh, I'm just going to shave my balls. I'm just going to get the razor out the packet. Oh, no. Oh, my balls are so sloppy. No, they're not. Don't be shaving no sloppy balls, Callum. Don't do it.
You were doing it on me.
No, it was for you. I was reading your script.
I like to wait until they're ripe.
Just plucked.
Yeah, it's easy to hold.
Yeah, well, I suppose you don't need to shave them then, do you?
No, not just plucked. I just mean like when they're nice and firm, I'm not jiggling around. I've got more chance of cutting you then.
That's true. Or you get one of those fucking Manscaped things that I've seen 500,000 adverts for.
This week's episode brought to you by Manscaped. What a segue, Dan. It's not. It's CD keys or something. It'll be in the middle. Anyway.
Yay.
We're back where we was, Dan. It was your episode last week, episode 250.
Indeed.
Every 50 episodes, Dan takes over, and we had a good time.
Now we're back to the shit.
Yeah, back to this stuff. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on the trend that we kind of got back into with some big, fat, stinking news. I'm
keen.
I'm going to just absolutely obliterate you with it, Dan.
Okay.
Prime Video's announced the release date for post-apocalyptic drama series Fallout.
Yeah.
Do you want to know when?
God damn it. That's the only thing. Like, just for a bit of context, because that's obviously a bit of news that anyone who's been listening to this since they announced it, it's something I've been so keen on. Yeah. I've been so excited for. And yesterday, you messaged me, because we were supposed to do the podcast yesterday.
Tomorrow. We're a day early.
Oh, no, sorry, because we switched it randomly.
Yeah.
But you said, we're going to do the podcast a day early, because I've got some news. Stay off everything. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't go on Facebook. I didn't go on Instagram. Didn't go on Twitter. I haven't gone on YouTube. Literally nothing. Woke up this morning, opened my phone. I was like, oh, Instagram. Oh, no, I'll come off that. I've got like 5 minutes of just sort of like scrolling before I can, I've got to make moves. So I need to energize my brain. Went on to LinkedIn, scrolling through. Someone had liked something. It said, Fallout, Amazon Prime. And I was like, oh no, please tell me that wasn't what it was. But that's all I saw. So yes, I'm not joking, because like I was in an absolute sort of like sleepy stupor still at this point. I was like, if I'm lucky, I'm not properly awake yet. So that will just sort of dissipate for the rest of the day. No, Callum, it's all I've been thinking about all day. Because I knew it was going to be this. Unless you were going to drop a new Star Trek game on me that I didn't know was coming or something like that and absolutely bait and switch me. I've been so excited to talk about this all day. And I was really hoping that what this was is not... And I thought I could drop that on you, maybe.
No chance. But I'll give myself credit. I tried my best. To make it a big surprise for you.
You absolutely did.
I as people will be aware, nobody expects LinkedIn to be the source of news for video game or
absolutely
TV
not
releases. So that's not your fault, Dan.
No, and it was about 2 in as well. So it's not as if I'd just been going, and then it's just sort of like feeding me the dregs or whatever. It was like straight away. It was like bang. But again, all I saw was the back of a vault suit. Or like it was a still from a game or something like that probably, but it was just like Amazon Prime, Fallout, and I stopped there, but I was like, I can piece it together. Like, clearly it's either there is a trailer or there's a release date.
Or it's been cancelled.
Ooh, now that would be a bait and switch. I get all excited for this. It's like, The plug's been pulled. Sorry.
That's the next sentence from this. Unfortunately, no, it's not.
Next.
There's a tiny little teaser for it. Not footage.
Oh.
It's literally just like the Pit Boy and what's the Vault Boy called?
Vault Boy.
Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
The cartoon guy.
Yeah, it's a Vault Boy and a Vault Girl.
I thought they had different names for some reason.
Like what?
Larry? No. I know. I thought it was something. I thought it was something else. I genuinely did, and I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, anyway, one of him, and it's just like kind of like Matrixy. So like the interface on the Pit Boy is just like, and then it gives you the date.
Starting it now. Oh my god, the 4th of December. Oh, you stupid American dates.
It's American, Dan.
God damn it. Oh, so it's the 12th of frigging April.
April 2024.
I mean, that's closer than I thought it was, because we're almost in November.
That's pretty close, really. That's like the January, February, March. Yeah, Q1. End of Q1.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
So pretty close.
The 12th of April. What day is that? Because I reckon that's a Friday. Because we'll have probably like a spoiler cast that's going to tie directly.
Oh yeah,
into
definitely.
That.
Yeah.
So the 12th of April 2024 is a Friday. So presumably your Loki's going to finish by then, I hope. And there's not another Disney show that's...
But April 12th is now announced as AKA Fallout Day.
Is that for a particular reason?
Is
that the day that the war started or something like that?
Maybe the date the Commonwealth got together, or the date... They say it could be a date the war started. But it says here it's a Monday. Oh, no, sorry. The news was announced on Monday, a.k.a. Fallout Day. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Wait, so Monday just gone was Fallout Day?
Apparently, yeah. Which was...
well, maybe that's like a...
21st, I think? 23rd?
Yep. No, 23rd was yesterday, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's Monday. It's Tuesday today. It's not Wednesday.
Correct.
Normal podcast day.
Yeah.
We just explained all this.
I don't know. I'm maybe there is some sort of... Because, like, Star Trek Day, I think, is in...
May the 4th.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah. I think it's... Oh, no, there's First Contact Day, which is... I think that's the 4th of April.
I thought it was Jimmy Savile's birthday.
Yeah, that's... I think it's the... because I think the first contact in the Star Trek universe is... It's either the 4th or the 5th of April 2063, I think.
Do they have our months then in Star Trek?
Yeah, I mean the start dates are only... It's like a universal date and time kind of thing, I think. So because time and distance, so time is relative. So because obviously they're travelling at or faster than the speed of light, time isn't really a factor for them.
That always gets me in stuff like, not just Star Trek, but like Star Wars and stuff as well, where they'll go, we've got 5 minutes until that explodes. Yeah, but you don't even have clocks. So
I've never seen anyone look at a watch, if I'm honest. Yeah. Or check their phone to see what time it is.
But it's most. I'll be honest. I've noticed it more in like the TV shows than the movies. But like it's stuff like 5 minutes from now or whatever. But then they'll go through and they'll be like, it'll be a specific word that's made up for that universe for something else. Yeah. That's also the equivalent of a measurement of time. And it's just
some
weird.
Like some shows will have like galactic time. So like there's like in the same there's like Greenwich Mean Time, which is like standard time, and then there's like plus and minus. There's like a galactic or universal time, which is like a standardized time across everything, and then everyone is like plus and minus.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. But I'd like to think that there's some sort of in-law significance for Fallout Day, but it could just be that's when the first one came out. Or it's when 3 came out or 4 came out or whatever. I don't know.
It's most likely a release day thing rather than an in-game thing. But I honestly don't know, and I probably should have looked that up prior. Excited though, Dan. Very excited.
I'm not joking when I was like, because sometimes I can see a thing or I can read a tweet or whatever, like in a sort of, in that sort of like half an hour when you're waking up where your brain's not really doing anything. I can kind of use it as like a cheat.
Yeah.
So to be like, well, I can read a thing that I wasn't supposed to, or I can come back and forget about it and still be excited. This one though, it was just burnt into my brain immediately because I was just like, it's either there's a new game which is incredible, or it's about the show, which is something I've been whinging on this fucking podcast for about 8 months or whatever it was.
I think longer than that, to be honest.
Potentially so. I can't even remember when they. When was that fucking little teaser thing where I think it's
that honestly that was like well over a year ago.
That teaser with the power armor gives that guy a Nuka-Cola to drink. Yeah, it might even be a couple of years ago.
I think it was not this E3, the last. Well, we didn't have an E3, obviously.
In 20 there wasn't. No.
I think it was the one. It was the one before where we had the teaser because it was part of the Microsoft show, and then all we've had since that was some like on-set photos that some passerbys taken.
I've seen a dude in a Vault suit in a classroom, and that's about it. Again, purposefully, I do not go out looking for this because one, I don't want to. I want to get surprised like this. Like that's what this should have been. But two, I don't want the algorithm. I don't want it to know what I'm into because then it'll just start feeding me more shit like that.
That's why I always have the news for the podcast because I just go, I need some news for this week's podcast, and I just open Instagram and it'll go, here you go. I go, thank you very much.
Here's everything that you could possibly want to talk about.
But no, I knew you'd be excited for it, and I'm very disappointed in LinkedIn for ruining that. But we only moved recording a day early in order to get around it, but whatever.
Yeah.
But, do you think we're going to get a similar Amazon scheduling that we do with like The Boys and stuff? So it's going to be one a week.
Probably so. Which I'm really quite annoyed about because this is absolutely something I'd want to obliterate. Like it would be in a one go kind of deal. Even if I knew that I've still got time to do it. To be fair, if I know that it will come out in a block, if it's a Friday, that's fine. I can watch it over the weekend in one go. If it's like on a Wednesday or whatever, I will take 2 days off and I will go through all of it because I can't. I've been waiting for this too long now, and it's either going to be the most disappointed I've ever been with the show that I'm into, or it's exactly what I want it to be.
I've got a feeling
and it will be good. This is the problem, how stupid and wacky and horrific is the Fallout world?
Yeah.
Like, if it's just sort of like, oh, it's just like Riverdale, but they're all in blue outfits, and they're all just sort of like, they're all trying to fuck each other, and they're all beautiful. This is like, no, they're all cannibals and murderers and like necrophiles, and it's the absolute worst possible place that you could ever. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. And then there's guns that shoot railway spikes. And then there's mutant, like people being forced into being mutants, and then it's just the worst. So is this either going to be like The Boys level of just like, oh my god, like people's heads exploding, like stapled to the wall, kind of like, like you go through any sort of like raider camp, and there's just like bodies just sort of like cut up and split open and like hanging from walls or whatever. If it's that, brilliant. But then if it's sort of like it's wacky and silly and it's like a 50s sitcom kind of thing, but also but like with a backdrop of being awful and like the vaults are terrible, and I could go for that as well. You know
what I think would be a really good middle ground, and it's going to sound weird, but bear with me. So in I want to say season 2 with The Boys, where you get to see Black Noir's backstory.
No, that's the last season.
I think that was 3, wasn't it? Yeah. But it's obviously it's a cartoon world and everything's just fucking weird. That kind of level of what's a good example of it? So Cuphead. So it's very old vibe aesthetic to it, but then mix that in with like the stupid over the top advertisement stuff that Vought does for the other things. And I don't mean I want advertisements popping up all over the Fallout universe, but just that level of I can't think of the terminology for what I mean, but like very self-aware, but at the same time not really
meta.
I suppose meta's a good way of putting it, but it knows it's batshit fucking crazy. It's not even trying to be the boys. It's just trying to be Fallout. And it's definitely going to be the boys, 100%, because Amazon have gone, this fucking works. And it does. And to be honest, it would fit.
It would fit. But I think that... So there is, like... There's more sort of horror elements to it than there is. Or, like, just more psychological trauma, I think, rather than... Because, like, if you... I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but until Starfield and Baldur's Gate came out and basically sucked up the entirety of my fucking free time, I was going for a big Fallout like re-binge. So I was playing Fallout, and on my other screen I had videos about Fallout and like going through every vault from like 1 to wherever we're up to. Not every vault, because not every vault, but everyone that's been seen so far, And just sort of like people who just go into a room and just be like, well, because like you'll go in and you sort of like you pick up a few bits or whatever, and you might read the odd terminal and then you fuck off. But people go into a room and just go like a detective and just be like, right, this body's over here and there's all these scalpels and medical trays and whatever. Like what happened to sort of like get to this, and then they'll sort of like they'll get a lay of the land and then read all the terminals to kind of get the sense of like what Vault Tech was up to, and then they kind of piece together and say like, this is the point of this vault, and this is what these people's last days would have been like and stuff like that. And it is fucking horrific. Like a lot of this shit, it's just like it's like, you know, like in Dead Space 1, I think it is, when you're going through like the station, I think it is, that's been sort of like necrophiled or whatever it is, and there's like all the there's like babies, and there's like a midwife or a nurse or something like that.
Scary
and
as
the baby
fuck.
just sort of crawls up and just explodes and just kills her, and you're just like, what is this? Like, that's the sort of thing I want to like. This is the thing, because like obviously there's a bit there's like a photograph that I've seen of someone in a vault classroom. Yeah. So does that mean that there's going to be like?
That'd be for the goat exam, wouldn't it?
But it could just be a flashback. It could be if, you know, someone sort of like coming to the realization that their vault was being poisoned, or, you know, they were set up to try and kill each other. Like there's one that was I think it is in 4, but basically Vault like the first overseer was told that, okay, well this vault is all about you know, the greater good, like sacrifice, and, you know, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few and all that. So once a year you will need to execute a member of the vault, or all the life support, like all the vault will shut down unless you sacrifice someone. And they did that for like, I don't know, it was 100 years, 200 years, a couple of generations or something like that. And I can't remember what went wrong, or if they just chose not to do it. But if they didn't do it, nothing happened.
No,
like they got a message that was just like, oh, congratulations, you understand that sacrificing someone for the benefit is for everyone else is like a really awful thing to do. And it's just like, oh my god, like hundreds of people potentially by this point have been killed just because, you know,
they followed what they thought was an order.
But it was, or it was like the overseer was sacrificed or something like that. So people were trying to vote the people they didn't like into becoming the overseer, so that they had to be sacrificed. So it was so, like, not even taking into account like all the general grind of like living in a bunker.
Would you watch that?
For your whole life would be, but my god,
as a reality show.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
I think that'd be one I could definitely get into.
Right, yeah.
Presented
Celebrity
starring James
Vault Tech.
Corden.
Yeah, and he's the only contestant.
He's the only one in it.
But
I
like something like that, where it's sort of like exploring, even if they don't go into the wasteland, and it's just exploring that, and it's someone coming to the realization of like, oh my god, what is this horrible place that we're inhabiting? and then have to break out or whatever. Or it could just be, like I say, there's someone who's already been out for a bit, and it kind of flashes back to, like you say, things like the GOAT exam. I think because the Pip-Boy thing that was on there did say, I think it said V101, so I'm assuming it's Vault 101 that's going to be focused in this show, I guess.
I'm sure they've mentioned the Vault number already.
Potentially so. Again, I'm steering clear of all of this, so I don't know.
I'd rather just in case, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't want them to really focus on I don't want them to focus on Vault 101 or 111. Because that's a story that we already know, and it's people that we already know, and it's an area we already know. There is too much openness and world to explore. It's
potentially the entire world. We don't know how much of the world is. What's it? That's the world. But there was. I won't go to what they said. But when those set photos leaked, people were trying to figure out, based on the outfit they had and the Pip-Boy that they could see, to see which Fallout universe, as in 1, 2, 3, or 4, or the New Vegas, which it fell into. But the photos weren't good enough to see. But I have a feeling if they do take inspiration from a game, it will be 4. And it'll be focused on trying to find
honestly, I'd say it would either be 3 or 4, because I reckon that they're both pretty big hitters. I think 3 probably would have made it the game that it is at the moment, like how how well received and how well liked it is, and how people know about it, because only nerds played Fallout 1 and Fallout Tactics, but 3 would have been like, oh my god, this is for like the PlayStation, this is for the Xbox, this is
it was my first Fallout game.
Yeah, it was for me. I mean, I've still got 1 and 2. I do want to actually do them at some point and see if I can deal with it just being so old. But I never played Vegas.
Vegas is I love it. I think personally that would be the best one, because that's
to focus on. Yeah,
as if you had to take one and make it into a TV show, and you go, what's going to be successful? Obviously the story in 4 is relatively straightforward. Obviously there are just twists to it, but it's a parent trying to find their son. That's the bulk of it. But in New Vegas, you play he's called
the courier.
And when I think of it, and I think of it as a TV show, I think of the Mandalorian.
Right. Okay. So it's like a bounty hunting lone survivor kind of.
Basically, yeah.
Well, not the lone survivor.
No,
but you know
but
what I mean.
but that's what the Mandalorians always like. Especially the first season, it was what makes it so not unique, but why a lot of people, specifically people like us, like it, because it is a video game, and he's leveling up as he goes along.
He's meeting his crew, he's meeting his companions, and
And I can't think of a Fallout game more suited to that than New Vegas, but it's also probably the least of the new ones. At least it's the least played one. 3, 4, even 76 has probably got more people that have played and enjoyed that.
Maybe.
I love New Vegas, but
I think if any of them are screaming for a remaster, Vegas would be the one I'd want to do, because I'd want that to look. Imagine if you could get Vegas that looked like Starfield.
Oh God, yeah.
Good fucking lord. It's fair. Get any of them looking that good, and my days. But just think though, if you based it all on the look of 76, it would cost about £400 an episode, because you just got sort of like matte painting on here, and you can just reuse the same 3 consoles and just copy and paste a bunch of shit. I'm still so annoyed at that.
It's the worst looking game, to the point of when was it? It was only a couple of weeks ago. I booted up 4 for the first time in a long time since I properly played it, and 4 looks so much better than 76.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's the same engine. How can
it's the same assets.
Yeah, it's the same game.
But there is a lot more craziness that goes on in 76.
Oh yeah,
there's aliens and Mothman and sloth monsters and giant sheep things, and like if you wanted the boss characters, I'd say you pluck them out of 76. But if there's going to be, I'd say so. If there's going to be like, so when we watched the Last of Us show, great show for the most part, a fairly decent representation
Good
of
adaptation.
the experience of the game. Obviously, you can't capture everything, but I also don't want to see Pedro Pascal pushing a fucking pallet around on a lake for 25 minutes trying to navigate a certain bit. Fuck that. But if you were to focus on a specific Fallout sort of story, like you say, the overall sort of like story arc of it is, let's just say 4. Let's just, for the argument's sake, it's the most recent, or not the most recent, but it's the most recent sort of like well-received one, shall we say. You know, it was a next-gen title when it came out. Everyone went fucking bananas for it. I'm sure, I won't check, but I'm sure that the ratings are still really good for it. Modded to shit, so people still play it and people still like doing it. People obviously love the lore and it only expands on it, which is also good. But there's the start. Again, I'm just thinking of things like, if I'm just sort of like, oh, really cool, sort of like, oh, this is cool. That's, oh, I remember doing that. Yeah. The start, when everything's unbombed.
You got your
and
seller
you've
man
got
trying to sell your stuff.
Yeah, you got your Vault-Tec rep popping into the door. You've got Codsworth, who's just sort of like doing breakfast or whatever. And then you sort of get 10 minutes of just like, oh my god, this is what the world looked like before the other 20 years worth of games. That's incredible. And then you've got a shit, run, blah, 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 bombs, bang. Ugh. So the opening, like seeing the world as it was, loved it. The defreeze where your son gets nicked and then your fucking partner gets shot in the face, like what the fuck? And then you wake up and it's like bang, it's like 60 years later, off you go. Brilliant. Like finding your first suit of power armor, and when you get in it, there's a death claw that comes right out the street and you've got a minigun and you're tearing through it. Like there's things like that where I'm just like, if you're gonna do 4 and you want to do, what is it, the Soul Survivor, is it? The character from 4? Because I think the Lone Wanderer is 3.
Was that a David Hasselhoff song?
No, that's like Soul Survivor from Kung Fury. You son of a gun.
It's True Survivor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's the Soul... Is it the Soul Survivor? Because is everyone else dead in the vault?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah. So let's just say if it's based on that, are there any specific sort of like beats that you'd want them to sit, or that you'd feel would be lacking if you went and watched it and it was based on that character? And
the beauty of if you take 4 is that you've got the entirety of your first episode just with that opening bit, longer than 10 minutes. Let them ravel it. Similar to The Last of Us. So stuff's going on, nothing's gone to shit, everything's normal. They're just not eating bread, and then it was in the flour, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah. If you go back and watch the episode, we've got no thingy, so they can't make pancakes. He forgets to buy the birthday cake. She refuses a cookie, and then somebody had pointed all these things out. And then one of the directors has gone, and then it's in the second episode, I think. The first outbreak is in like this flour mill thing.
Oh, okay.
Like whoever this was on Reddit or Twitter or whatever it was, worked it out before the second episode when you saw it. And I was like,
that is impressive. I mean, I was just watching it to enjoy it. I wasn't trying to tear it apart, but good God.
But yeah. So, but like everything's normal for a good chunk of the first episode before it all. Then we start seeing beat for beat some scenes from the games, and even down to the perspective, like we're in the car, got the plane coming down, that kind of stuff. And you could do the same with Fallout, down to the point of when you get to Red Rocket and you meet your little fucking dog meat, and then he becomes everyone's favorite Grogu replacement, and we just get a dog that just never allowed to die ever.
Well, it's not dog meat in 4, is it?
Yeah, dog meat in 3 and 4.
Oh, is it dog meat? Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
The only difference being in 3, once he's dead, he's dead. He can't come back. In 4,
well, they're not stupid. They're like, no, he just go back to camp. Yeah.
Well, I made that mistake. on 3. Finally found, because you just find him wandering around, if you're lucky, in 3. Adam finally found him. He got killed. I've gone online and was like, no, he can't come back. So I had to load up an earlier save, which was fucking miles before I got him. Got him, and then took him back to Megaton, and it was just like, wait here. And I just left him there for the rest of the game. But you've got... that first episode is sorted, and it's done. And I think just visually, seeing this weird kind of like futuristic 50s like America, I think it'd just be visually very good to see like, in live action. And
well, like some of
easy.
the sort of the black and white trailers that they've done, where it's the same kind of thing, where it was just sort of like, oh, you know, make sure you understand about fallout shelters and whatever, and it's like it's set in black and white, but it's still sort of like. And to be fair, the live action trailers that they did for Fallout 4, with a Mr. Handy that's sort of like zipping around and doing whatever, they look great.
Yeah.
And that was, what, 8 years ago? Probably more at this point, yeah maybe you're right.
Closer to 10, maybe.
But, like, having a Mr. Handy that's, like, an actual companion, I don't think it would be that difficult. Like, having a super mutant follow someone round feels like it would be a lot more difficult than having a Mr. Handy.
Depends where they're going. So Mr. Handy, they can be anywhere. They can be indoors. They can be in a vault. They can be in a street. They can be in a town. They can be on top of a mountain. Whatever. But a mutant would only work as long as they're out in the like the Outlands kind of thing. So it's loads of fucking open space, loads of fucking places to track them and that. But I think with the exception of the mutants, some like your Deathclaws and some of the the big crab things, Mirelurks. With the exception of some of those kind of creatures, everything else is dead simple. Like
I don't know. I reckon a Mirelurk would be pretty straightforward because it's just sort of like a hunched over like hermit crab, isn't it? Just sort of like scuttling around.
Yeah.
I don't think you couldn't do like a Mirelurk hunter or a Mirelurk king or a Mirelurk queen, like the one that's like the size of a building. But I mean, you could, but it would be a big boss fight, and you'd have to fat boy it. Or
that's the problem you have though with the fat boy. You've got James Corden it with the with a game. It's fine because you go, this is a boss fight. It's a boss battle. That would kill you immediately.
Especially, but that's the thing. But you couldn't tackle that with you've just come sort of like spluttering out of a vault. Just go, oh my god, what the fuck? Oh my god, Mirelurk Queen. You'd get obliterated. But as like your last episode of the season, you've got a couple of companions, you've got some decent armor, you've got some good shit, you've got a Gatling laser or the power arm or whatever. Yeah, you're probably kitted up enough to be able to take it on.
Maybe. I definitely.
Or you throw a flare and just call in an orbital strike or whatever, and it just explodes it.
Well, then again, if you've got power armor, maybe. That might maybe.
But that's the thing. Like power armor is like some of the cosplayers that people have got when they've got like Brotherhood of Steel armor and stuff like that. It's just like I'm sure that it's quite costly for them to put together, but it's well within the bounds of like a costume budget on a fucking TV show, especially with Amazon's money behind it. Like the biggest company in the world.
If people can make it out of cardboard and like
3D
foam.
printed. Yeah, like foam and stuff. Yeah.
Then Amazon can do it.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. Like, I don't think that you'd only go, oh, we'll get the power armor in, but man, it'll be so expensive. It'll be the last 5 minutes of the one episode. They'll Smallville it. They'll say, oh, we can't have him flying around. It'll just be 10 minutes of the last episode. He gets the suit, and we can do the flying because that's when we can afford it.
The beauty of it is though that it isn't Iron Man. It's
just a big clumpy.
It's just a little bit of extra protection that isn't infinite. He's got to put a power core in to make it work. The weapons they've got they're no different than the weapons you can carry. It's just obviously more rounds and more rockets or whatever. The jetpack, you can't fly. You just boost and go. I can probably get to that higher ledge with it.
Yep.
So realistically, it wouldn't be that expensive to do it because it's just a big person.
Yeah.
Like,
If anything, they could say, "Oh, we're having a Brotherhood of Steel episode.
yeah.
Let's just get in touch with a Facebook group of people who are all Fallout fans who have all got their own power armor. Guys, do you want to come down and be extras for the day on a Fallout show, and you can just stand around and be cool?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll do it for fucking free."
I was going to say you wouldn't even need to pay them.
Absolutely not. They'd love that shit. It's like when Star Wars, like when they're just like, "Oh, it's like a local group of people who go and do charity stuff. Where do you want to come down and just do extra stuff?" Like from the studios, they're just like, "Well, that means we don't have to pay for 40 costumes and 40 extras and catering or whatever. We can just get a bunch of fans with like excellent quality." I mean, they'll probably give them a once over before they get, "Right, yours is cardboard, fuck off." But you know, the
You've
proper
just got
ones that
pajamas
come in. Yeah. Like, you know, just come in and mill around or just stand in a line and that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
You're in Star Wars now forever. People would lose their fucking minds over that.
They fuck you, guy. I ain't being funny. Like I like to be paid for a lot of things. But if someone come and said, "Bring your stormtrooper outfit," I haven't got a stormtrooper outfit, but bring your stormtrooper outfit. Stand there, just holding a blaster, and we're going to swing past the camera. If I can then turn around and tell Logan that I'm in Star Wars, I'll take that over any money.
I agree.
It's what an amazing thing that would be.
Yeah.
Not for Fallout. I want to be paid for that. But
Nah. I would make my own power armor to then be in it. It would cost me more than they would ever be willing to pay me as an extra.
We saw this. It's quite a crude outfit, Dan, but we like that you've tried. So if you can pay for yourself to come down to Florida and
oh no, it's already like $1,000. Oh no.
I'm in.
We'll pay for your bus fare from the airport.
Yeah, tell you what, we'll come and pick you up like from the airport. No, but like there's a lot just before you get to the studio, so if you make your way there, we'll pick you up from there.
And you've got to bring this thing with you as well, by the way.
You gotta wear it the entire flight.
Just like
Do you want to drink? Oh, I don't know.
I can't.
Yeah, I can't move my arms.
He'd have to give it to me, so no.
The plane's just like...
No, it's not made of metal.
Oh, I thought you made a proper one.
Oh, no, I'd fly there if that's the case. Or I'd just Terminator it and just walk under the sea and just pop out the other end.
That's a point. We don't see a lot of water stuff in the Fallout universe.
I think that's probably something to do with games.
No,
like
it's
the game mechanic
that's
side
what
of
I
it.
mean.
Just like we're not going to have like a whole underwater fucking base section that you need to get to as well.
There is elements, but not like going into the ocean or anything like that. But it'll just be like where you'll have like a Mirelurk that's in like water, like this shit high, maybe. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's like a few pipes and stuff like that you can go into to like sneak past guards and things and just pop up into a factory or whatever. But it's like other than like the Yangtze maybe in 4, like the submarine. But again, you know it's there and you're swimming out to get to it, and then you sort of like you're going through the hatch or whatever. But it's not like I say that I don't know. But if you were to just sort of like just mooch around on the bottom of the sea for a bit, is there cool stuff that you can find underwater? Maybe.
Again, probably just like Mirelurks and stuff. But like realistically, there would be a wealth of different mutants that are under there, and we might see that in a new Fallout game. But again,
that'd be
it's more
interesting.
limitations with the games themselves and the hardware of the time. And
they were like, "Fuck it, we've got this whole map that we built, and you want to go underwater?" Like,
plus, I mean,
historically, the water level of any game is always the worst part as well. So you don't want to go anywhere near that.
I mean, it depends what you're playing. If you're playing like Subnautica or something, it's pretty good. But
no, I'm thinking like platformers, like Mario or whatever. Yeah,
they're always quite bad. Hate them. Well, Mario Wonder's out now.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
You
gonna get that, Draken?
I am, but Spider-Man 2 is also out, so I'll be getting that first.
I agree.
I should be getting that in 3 days' time. So,
well, City Skylines has dropped today, Callum, as we discussed on the podcast last week. It wasn't supposed to be up to the levels or the limits or the benchmarks that they'd set themselves. I managed to play for it about 5 minutes before you called, so we could go through this. It looks all right. I don't know what they were planning on it being, but it looks fine. It did almost kind of crash out which I was sort of like, ooh, maybe that's a bit, I don't know.
It's not a great start.
No, not particularly. But there's something else that did come out last week after the podcast that we'd both forgotten about until it dropped, which was Captain Laserhawk, the Blood Dragon remix. Yeah. So it's the anime-ish, animated series from Ubisoft and Netflix.
I've got 2 left. Just before we go further,
I was going to say, did you finish it?
No, I finished episode 4 out of 6. I know.
As soon as I watched that first one, after I think because we were just pissing about whatever we were doing, and then
can't remember what we were doing, and you just went, "Hey, this is out."
What? Yeah, I'm not joking. When we finished up whatever we were doing, I watched them all back to back and just got through. I got through them all. Like I finished like 2 in the morning or something.
Unfortunately, Dan, I've had a low-key spoiler cast, and then the podcast that had 4 hours of bloopers to cut out. So I haven't had as much time to watch things, but I tried to get through them, and I don't mean that as it was a slog. It's just been time. Like, I fucking love it. It's so good. And,
it's really good, isn't it?
Like I say, I've finished 4 today. I've got two left, which, if we did the podcast at the normal time, I would have finished it.
Yeah.
So, it's your fault.
Well, I don't. So other than like, there's obviously there's certain story elements that you'll get to in those last 2 episodes. But in terms of the style, in terms of the characters, there's not really anything new that gets introduced at the end of the season. So from what you've seen so far, what are you liking about it?
I like it. I like the music. I like the aesthetic. I mean, it's very 80s, infused, which is my absolute world. So. In terms of just
it's Blood Dragon. It's
this is what I mean.
Cyber and retro.
Blood Dragon's my favourite of all of the Fallouts. Absolutely every Fallout.
Of the
Far Cry's.
There you go.
Even Fallout. If we could get Fallout.
Blood
Dragon.
Oh God, no! Absolutely not. No.
What is weird that this is the second time Ubisoft have taken the title Blood Dragon and not made it anything to do with Blood Dragon.
Yeah, because I was thinking that this would be because like, what's the fella's name? Is it Rex? Coulter, something like that.
It's definitely Rex Colt. I should definitely know this.
Like he's the main cyber commando, or whatever he is in Blood Dragon. But this whole show, you've already gathered from this point. There's no Blood Dragons in this.
No,
there's no cyber things other than like the main guy who's obviously a cyborg, but there's no like.
But
there's
he's
nothing
not
that I
character from Far Cry though.
No, I don't think he's just made up for this. Maybe
we was very briefly touched on. I think it was yesterday. The characters we know are from other things. Him being the main one, I got absolute clue. I think he's very loosely based on Rex because he's got the eye, like Terminator eye patch thing. Eye patch.
It's half his face.
Yeah, you know
sure,
what I mean?
An eye patch.
And obviously the cybernetics and stuff, but it's obviously not the character from Far Cry. I was trying to think of the other one that I meant. Trials.
Trials of the Blood Dragon.
Yeah, that was the last. Because I said this is the second Ubisoft thing they've done that isn't related to Blood
the
Dragon.
Fucking bike game. Yeah.
Absolute fucking waste of my fucking life. But that was another Conker moment where we'd see like Super Lucky's Tales, and we thought, you were like, oh my god, it's fucking Conker. Or we would see Conker, and it turned out to be what was that world building?
Project
Spark. Whatever E3 it was, we saw the Blood Dragon and the music, and I was like, oh! And then it was Trials, and I was like, motherfuckers. But aesthetics, music, Rayman's fucking amazing. Like,
how good is honestly his story arc? Like when it gets to the end, it pays off so well.
What I want though now is we're not going to get another Conker game, Dan. I'm learning to live with this. I know how Microsoft think. And Banjo-Kazooie have been dead for a long time. I want a Rayman game in a foul-mouthed attitude as Conker, based in this Blood Dragon universe.
That I would take.
I would
if
love
it was
that.
if it was this Rain Man, not Rain Man.
Rain Man. Let Liam Neeson in there as well.
Liam Neeson.
I was thinking of Dark Man.
That'd be a very different film.
Get
Tom
him in there as
Cruise
well.
and Liam Neeson.
It's Rayman.
Yeah, but like a proper sort of like so you know, like when they just switched up God of War and they were just like, let's just make it like a third person action, and people were just like, oh my god. The same thing with Rayman. Rather than it just being like a fun platformer, it's like, no, it's like this dingy, gritty, awful. He's sick of being an alien. Oh yeah, I'd be well up for that. That'd be amazing.
So good. And based on how even down to like the rabbits when they're coming through the portal and they're just these massive mutated.
I hated the fact that it was
horrible
rabbits.
things. I loved it.
But I was just like, because they were just like, oh, the alien attacks, and then it's the rabbits. I was like, fuck's sake. And then they came through and they just looked grotesque. And they were like these Godzilla monsters, and I was like, okay, that's fine. One of them's not dressed like Princess Peach. I can work with that. That's okay.
I love that. But I mean, I was saying to Zoe, when oh my god, I can't remember his name. The director,
Adi
Shankar.
Yeah.
When he went to Ubisoft with this, how hard do you reckon it was to get him to sign off on some of these choices? Particularly things like Rayman.
I don't know, because I mean, like they seem so sort of like entrenched in their kind of like, you know, that's why we've got an assassin, because they cream over Assassin's Creed games. And also, answer me this, right? The frog, who's the assassin. Also, the fact that they have an assassin that's competent and not just sort of like, he's a funny French frog and he keeps tripping over and whatever. Like, he's just slaughtering people. Love it. Is that frog the Bubble Bobble frog? Like, you know when he goes like...
No, that's Capcom.
And just... Oh, have they done something similar to that? Because that looks so specific. Like, it's the frog with the bubble.
I've got a feeling it's... I was thinking maybe something like Frogger. But that... Not the obviously Frogger, but I was thinking a platform game. It might even be Puzzle. I'm 90% sure Capcom did Puzzle Bobble.
You might be right. I'm not.
Plus,
too
it
sure,
wasn't a frog. That was a dinosaur.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
well,
yeah. He's got. It's also known as Buster Move, and it was made by Acclaim. Sorry.
Ah.
So, not
but were they bought up by Ubisoft though, by any chance?
No.
They're still going on their own.
They're owned by Taito.
Taito. The crisps.
The Taito Corporation is a Japanese company that specializes in pose.
In what?
Potatoes.
Oh, right.
No, they make video games, toys, arcade cabinets, game centers.
Okay. Fair enough. I just, like, that was such a specific thing for him to be doing. I was just like, that's not an Assassin's Creed thing where you can just sort of, like, create a vision bubble out of your mouth for some reason.
There might even be an Ubisoft game where it was just a frog assassin.
I don't know. There certainly fucking will be now. If I get Assassin's Creed Mirage and it's not a frog that I can run about as,
there has to be.
Waste. Absolute waste. Or do you reckon instead they go, well, we're not going to have a tiny little frog character. Instead, you can have a frog suit. So you can be an assassin as a frog rather than a frog as an assassin.
That'd be
incredible.
That's like a backwards Ninja Turtle outfit, like when they've got the trench coat and the hat.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I would like to see a... Did you ever play Stray?
I didn't. It's still on my wish list. Yeah,
it's very good. But I'd like to see...
It was very short. I think that's the reason I didn't buy it.
It's because cats aren't very tall anyway. But but I'd like to see an Assassin's Creed game kind of like that, but as a frog. So it's more from the perspective. So it's not just Assassin's Creed Mirage, but now you can play as a little frog. I want to see it as stalls and stuff are fucking huge because you are a little fucking frog. That
Assassin's
kind of thing.
Croak.
Assassin's Croak. But he's an excellent character. I didn't know Alex was from the crew until you told me, because I think I've played the crew for like 12 minutes, maybe. Like,
Yep, usually whenever someone's got a free demo or a free weekend for the crew, that's usually when people play the crew.
I believe you did I think you did.
I think I did a video on it.
You did a video on it many years ago, and I played it years ago. That's it.
Yeah, it was like the whole driving across America. Not really, but like driving across America was really quite cool to have this sort of like huge roadscape. But yeah, like the sort of the story beats and the characters from it aren't really that well known, which is probably why they've just gone, yeah, sure, we can just get this guy in, and people won't really know who he is. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Traditionally, whatever.
Is he just like completely neutral then in the?
Oh, I don't remember. I can't remember if he was just like a mechanic or a driver or your coach or fucking whatever it was. But there's some really good ones in there. Like Jade and Paige.
Yes.
I didn't like as soon as I saw Paige, I was just like, "Oh, Big Pig Man, that was bloody Beyond." Because I got Beyond on Ubisoft, like a free thing for it. I think
it's like the 12 Days of Christmas thing.
Potentially, yeah, about 3 years ago, something like that. And I started playing that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this looks." I probably would have been way more into this when it was new.
I loved it. Back on the GameCube.
But I remembered that, and obviously I remember that the like the new Beyond Good and Evil like trailer that came out like 4 years ago that blew everyone away.
Still
that's
coming out.
Never going to see the light of fucking day. But like that looked incredible. There's a big pig man in that, so I was like, oh okay, no way. And then when it was when he was talking to Jay, like we're in the prison cell, I was like, there's something so familiar about all this. And then I was just sort of like, okay, well, I looked up Beyond, and then it was like Jade Page. I was like, oh, okay, that's okay, sure. But the wrestler dude that gets slipknotted like right at the start, I want to say I recognise like Cody Rhodes or something like that. I want to say I recognise that name, but I don't know from what.
I think he's made. I don't think he's from like a wrestling game or anything. I think he's made just for this.
Oh, okay.
But that's basing it on the fact that I don't know who he is. So that might be completely wrong. But I've got so when you meet Jade and you meet Paige, and when you meet Alex, when you meet Dolph, when you meet I've got some other ones for you as well that I didn't know yesterday.
Okay.
But when you meet the other characters, they don't specifically say. They'll go, "Hey, this is Rayman from Rayman. This is Alex from the crew," but they specifically say he's from the Eden Wrestling Federation,
which is not a thing.
That's not a thing at all.
Okay.
So that makes me think he's just that, and they've just gone, well, we're gonna just completely rip off Suicide Squad. We need somebody.
We
to
just
kill.
have a character that we can just kill off. Yeah, okay, that makes
done.
sense.
But you know the Power Ranger looking people.
The Ninja 6 or something?
Ninja 6, yeah. They are the operators from Rainbow Six.
There's no... Rainbow Six.
Yep.
Because there's red, yellow, green, Rainbow Six. Oh, that's a deep cut. I didn't clock that at all.
And the best thing about that, because I Googled this after, but Zoe was saying when we were watching 4, who was it? Come on. Oh, she said her last. Sarah said her last name, which was Fisher, and I went,
first time,
fucking hell, that's. And then she was like, who? And I went, he's probably going to show up anyway.
You'll see, yeah.
And then after it finished, she was saying like which other ones from games have been in, and I was going through them, and then I forgot about them, and she said, what about the Rainbow people? And I was like, which one? She was like, the Power Ranger, like the Rainbow people. I went, Rainbow, there's 6 of them. I was like, Rainbow Six, maybe? And then I Googled it. They were like, the operators of Rainbow Six. I was like, motherfucker.
but I thought the operators, they were like, I know that one of them's like Sledge. And
yeah, they had like actual, there wasn't gold, red, and yellow and stuff.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I don't remember them saying any of their names.
No, they'd have like, oh yeah, because you could see them when you went through the cards and stuff, you could see them. They had like specific names.
Oh, did they?
Like, but not like Brian, Mary. It'd just be like, I don't know, like a code name. So there was multiple ones of them. So you had like Sledge, but you didn't have to be that one. You could be a different one, that kind of thing. But I only put it together because Zoe said the word rainbow, and then
I did not click on that.
Rainbow fucking 6.
Yeah, that's a great, like, the fact that they didn't just go, oh my god, it's the Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been so easy, and I would have been like, oh yeah, like the siege thing.
What if Ninja is Japanese for rainbow or something?
It can't be.
Rainbow in Japanese is rainbow.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alexa, that was very racist.
I'll probably cut that bit out. That's not what I expected her to say at all.
Hey Alexa, what's hello in Japanese?
She can't hear you. Got headphones on.
No, but
I see. Alexa, hello in Japanese.
no.
Hello in Japanese is konnichiwa.
No, she didn't do it.
No, I know. I know it's konnichiwa. My joke is that if you go, hey Alexa, what's hello in Japanese, it would go, hello.
That's what I was saying. That's what I thought she was going to do, something like that.
No, why would it's Amazon's selling just racist stereotype Alexa units? I don't think so somehow.
Rainbow in Japan.
Well, no, do it the other way around, you dingus. Put ninja in as Japanese and see what the translation to English is. It'll be like ninjas or something.
Nothing. English detected. Rainbow in Japanese. Niji.
What, spelt the same? N-I-J-I or whatever it was?
N-I-J-I.
So it is the
Rainbow 6.
That's incredible. Well done, Ubisoft. And Adi Shadar, or whatever his name is.
But what they've done on where it's got like the how you pronounce the rainbow thing in Japanese, but you can read it in English. It's what she said. So it's like
so it changes the pronunciation of it. Yeah.
But yeah, Niji. So it's literally the Rainbow Six.
That's so cool. This
Very
show is
clever.
just fucking like if you wanted like a multi-franchise covering. Like I wouldn't have thought this would be the one. I thought it would just be if you said, there's going to be a Blood Dragon Netflix show. What's it going to be about? It'd be like, well, it's all the wacky, crazy cyborg, cyber crocs, and cyber blood dragons, and blah blah blah. If it's like, no, it's just like super cool, like anime, kind of like manga, but it's got Pagan Min, and it's got an assassin in it, and it's got Paige. Like that, they are just scraping like any recognizable characters that they've got a hold of at the moment.
That's the problem though, because if you don't watch this and you go, name me some cool Ubisoft characters, somebody might remember Sam Fisher, maybe, and the odds.
No, they know Sam from Splinter Cell.
No,
but
I
they
mean,
need to know that he's a Ubisoft.
That's what I mean. They might not necessarily go Ubisoft, Sam Fisher. Even fucking Rayman, they might not even remember Rayman is Ubisoft. But when you think of, because even down to the ad, so when Rayman's doing the thing and he's like, coming up next, whatever on Just Dance Live, and stuff like that. It's like that's what you think of when you think of Ubisoft. You think of Assassin's Creed and Just Dance. That's it.
Rocksmith.
Well, it's not even it's barely a thing anymore. But that's not a knock at Rocksmith. I love Rocksmith. Just Ubisoft don't. but that's the thing. Like I will say, I'm very disappointed with Pagan Min. Excellent Far Cry villain, massively underutilized, and I didn't like the design of him in this.
I know what you mean. He didn't seem, but I think that they've just changed his aesthetic to meet the universe's aesthetic, which I'm okay with. And I think it's the same voice actor that.
Troy,
is it not?
Troy Baker in the game. Somebody else in this because I looked it up.
No way. But they do a hell of a fucking job then, because I wouldn't have picked that. Or I mean, I suppose it's been a while since I've played 4, but it sounds enough like him. I mean, and, like,
it's
the cadence is right.
Once you know who it is, like when she says his name before you meet him, and you're just like, oh, pagan, fucking excellent. And you see him and you just go, I guess that is pagan Min and mannerisms and whatnot. But it's definitely not Troy Baker. And it's weird because if you're gonna get a voice actor in, I mean Troy Baker will do it.
He does most of them.
That's what I mean. He's probably in the same like studio doing a different thing, so just getting to do it through the wall. But
yeah,
it just seemed a really odd choice not to get him in to do it.
Well, it seemed that like a lot of the creation crew, they looked like they were either French or maybe French Canadian. So maybe it's just location, like
Could
getting
be.
him to
Could be, yeah.
you know, or conflicting schedules. Maybe I don't know. But I'm glad that. That Pagan was in it as sort of like this, you know, kind of like wacky mobster.
Yeah.
But considering Blood Dragon is a Far Cry, like a 1.5 game that's within, like, it's Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
But they've just put neon on everything and just given you a laser gun, and Robocop's gun, and cyber arm, and said off you go. There's Pagan Min, and then I didn't recognise like any other Far Cry stuff.
Up to now, so again, I'm on 4 and I don't recognise anything yet. And then obviously you finished, and if you're saying that you didn't recognise,
No, I mean there might be sort of like the odd nod to like certain products within the universe, but like I don't recognise like a Joseph Seed. Like he would be an incredible villain for a universe like this, like an absolutely terrifying like either religious leader or a huge business magnate or something like that.
I can see there being more of a Far Cry 2. No, Far Cry.
Or Vass.
I was thinking Vass, but obviously he's based on a tropical island type thing.
Well, Pagan Min's in the fucking like jungle.
No. But what I'm saying, like Pagan Min's always very like, even when you go to the beginning of the game, obviously when you first meet him and you go to like his palace, everything's nice, everything's fancy. He's used to the fine life and stuff. Whereas Vass is just a fucking maniac who can.
That's true. He'd be a henchman or something.
Yeah. But I'd rather see something like Far Cry Instincts, where, you know, like we got all the powers and stuff, but he hasn't. He's just a smackhead. It's everything's just going on in his head.
So you can see a whole, like, through his eyes kind of thing, and he's, like,
Yeah.
doing sweet flips, and he's, like, sneaking up on people, and he's just sort of, like, bouncing around in a broken down bathroom somewhere.
That'd be brilliant, but that's the kind of thing I could see them putting in over something like Vass or Joseph or something like that. But you could put Joseph in as kind of like a scarecrow character. So he's peddling drugs and stuff.
Well, yeah, but there's like fucking Faith, who's that kind of like scarecrow character. It's like it's all hallucinogens and whatever. But like you've got even like the twins from New Dawn are like they're like proper psychopaths.
First one I never finished.
It's the story's quite short. It like they just changed the gameplay up to make it a bit more grindy, which I'm not particularly fond of. Not in the Far Cry universe anyway. But someone like Joseph Seed, because they're sort of like this like prophet figure. I think that if they do a second season of this, and I fucking hope to Christ they do, someone like that comes through, or they go a bit more weird and Blood Dragon-y. But like having DeadSec in there as well and Marcus is a great idea. Although I'm still surprised that they went for Marcus and not fucking what's his name, Aiden, was it?
Aiden
Pierce, yeah.
Again,
why did they go Marcus and not Aiden?
They could just be going off. So if you look at it, so Alex is we know he's from the crew, but I assume he's not big. This is the star of this car game. And everyone in it, with the exception of Rayman, even down to using Sarah instead of Sam. Like, obviously we see Sam, but Sarah's been in pretty much every episode. The Jade is obviously the main character for Beyond Good and Evil. But spoilers, she gets killed, and then you're left with Paige. You get an assassin frog who's never been in any games before. So it's kind of like they're going, these main characters have already had time to shine, and we're just going to pick out characters from either sidekicks or they've barely been mentioned in the background. Like this wrestler might actually be from something. We just did
potentially.
No idea.
I'm pretty
who he
sure
is.
his name was Cody Rhodes. I'm pretty sure it was.
Like I said, I'm sticking with my theory that it's a
It's well, Callum, we couldn't have been more wrong.
Really?
It's a real dude.
He's a real wrestler.
Yeah, he's an actual
Oh,
WWE wrestler. He's gonna come for you now. I don't know if he's fucking
Well, I was right.
voiced
Then.
himself, maybe, but
He's not from a game then.
unless there's a WWE game or something like that Ubisoft have made, in which case maybe they go, he's the only one that we actually got the rights for, so fuck it, we'll put him in.
Have Ubisoft ever made a wrestling game?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna look at his IMDb and see if he's actually credited as like the. Captain Laserhawk. He's actually playing himself. That's incredible. What a weird get. We've got all these Ubisoft characters not voiced by their original voice artist, and then one wrestler.
But this is what I mean. This ties into what I was saying. They go, we need a wrestler. Who's really popular? Let's get The Rock. Nah, he's in Hollywood now. We cannot get
Also,
him.
that would be 3 seasons worth of budget to get him to do 5 minutes of VO.
But this is what like you can take out. You've got The Rock. You've got oh my god, fucking John Cena. Like these are arguably the biggest wrestlers going at the moment. And Drax.
Dave Bautista. Yeah.
Batista. But they've all moved on to AAA Hollywood movies. But there's wrestlers you could go and pick out of like WWE who is way more well known to people. Not as big as The Rock, but you can go get Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's still going. Triple H. All these celebrities.
Have you seen Blade Trinity? That launched him into megastardom.
That's it.
No, it did not.
I saw him.
The fact that Ryan Reynolds' career survived that film is fucking beyond me.
The fact that anybody survived is beyond me. But it would make more sense to go right. Triple X. You're not even wrestling anymore. Triple X, Triple H. He's taken over as like he wears a suit and stuff, and he's coming in and he's annoying the people, and he's doing the storylines, and he's.
I was at a wrestling show when Triple H turned up.
But that's
like
what
a surprise thing. Yeah.
But you go and get somebody like that because it's a name that most people know who he is.
Also,
and they didn't.
If you go, well, if we get Triple H, say, like he's not an absolute unreachable star, but he's well enough known. But that means that you say, hey, do you want to come in and do 3 minutes of voiceover work, and then your head gets blown off? You might be like, not really, no. Like this guy, he may already have some affiliation with you. He might be like, oh, I'm a mad Assassin's Creed fan. He might stream or something. I don't know.
All I'm saying is it touches, it connects to that where they're going. We don't care about we're bringing in the smaller ones. So all of these people that we're using, they're not massive characters. You know the universes they're from, but it's not the stars of those universes. And that ties into the same thing with the wrestler. Might not be that at all. I look like I said, I've got 2 left, but I fucking love it. It's really, really good. And for obviously you're not a massive anime fan, and even when it goes a little bit over the top with the anime aesthetic, it just works very well for me, and it's not as bonkers as Dragon Ball or fucking anything like that. Have you watched?
Well, the fact
Chainsaw
that it keeps
Man
switching. No, I don't want to watch that. That fucking thing in his face. But it'll go from like this sort of like cool, fast-paced, sort of like Japanese anime kind of sort of thing, and then it'll cut immediately to like a 16-bit turn-based fighting game. Or like it'll be Metal Gear, like when they're just going around boxes and just missing people. And it's just like that's so unnecessary, but I love it. Well, even just sort of like just a bit of exposition chat, they can frame it and just go, well, fuck it, we'll just do like a top down, because people will be like, ha, that's funny, and then not. We don't have to animate some incredible, gorgeous set or whatever. We can just
go. That's the beauty of it. It tells a story. You know, they're stealthing their way in. And it's done in like a 6-second sequence that pays back that like homage to video games and stuff, but without animating it all. It's so clever. It's very good.
Yeah.
But this episode I'm on that I've just finished 4 is one where the when they're in the Max prison, it's gone to like a weird FMV style.
I love that. They just went, let's just get the voice actors. We'll put them in costumes and we'll pixelate the fuck out of the screen because it looks like old school games where it's like, oh, this is a cutscene. This is the best graphics that we've got, and that's what it looks like.
Sega CD.
Honestly, and I'm just sort of like, that's so good. Like, you didn't have to do that. Like,
to do a lot of stuff.
No, but that's what I mean. But they didn't go, oh, we'll just do, well, this bit will be, it's Rayman, but he's a puppet for no reason. Yeah. Like, they kept, like, that sort of stuff fairly consistent. And then, for some reason, they've just gone with these main characters. They're like, we're just going to put you in a white room and just have you shout at each other for a bit.
That was a bit that made me laugh with the, after Rayman's gone a bit off the rails because of the comment that guy says about aliens.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's fucking eating all that food off that hooker, but he's on TV, and it's just like live, and he's just like, wait, this is
what?
This is live.
Yeah.
But the guy, obviously, the director of this is the guy who did the Punisher, Dirty Laundry short, Power Rangers short, like mini movie with the guy from Dawson's Creek.
Oh, is that when he got Katie Sackhoff to come in and be the Pink Ranger?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's taken him this long to get something like this in the mainstream is kind of criminal, really. But this is incredible.
He's got another show on Netflix. About
Was he?
Yeah, about superheroes. It's not great, but it's not bad either. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I'll find it and send it over to you so you can have a look if you want to watch it. But I'd say it's closer to Watchmen than anything else.
Okay.
But he's also done a short for Pokemon, and it's dark as fuck.
Oh, I think I know the one you mean. There was out years ago though.
Yeah. This I'm going back, not years and years, probably like 5 years ago, something like that. But he's done a lot of stuff that people will be aware of. But I think this is the best thing he's ever made.
I hope to Christ that they go, like, actually, let's have a look and see if we can judge the reviews. Because I've got a feeling if you were to just watch this and you didn't know any Ubisoft properties, you weren't interested in that guy's work, or you didn't really know anything about games, I still think that if you're into anime and that kind of like high-octane stuff, there's still something that you can get out of this without needing to know all the backstories.
I think you can like this as it is on its own, without, like you say, without liking video games, without liking anime, without liking particular, I suppose, Far Cry. But it's just a very well made show, and it pays off like massively so.
Yeah. But there could very well be people who just watch this and go, I don't understand any of this. It's just all references and people that I don't understand. So, should we see if it's even? Oh, Rick and Morty, Callum, first episode. Did I tell you I watched the first episode?
I did.
Of season 7
I haven't watched it yet.
I wouldn't go in a rush to do so, to be fair, mate. Not happy with it. Gen V is doing very well at 97%. Yep, completely agree with that. Maybe it's not popular enough to kind of flag on the feature page.
Of course, I'm
gonna have to do a little bit of bloody digging here, mate.
I'm not gonna look for it. So I typed in.
Oh, here we go, Captain Laserhawk. Here we go.
I typed in red tomatoes instead of rotten.
Fucking idiot. It's only got an audience score rating at the moment, so and again, this came out like last week, so the fact that no critics have watched this means that it's so far under the radar. Maybe
I've seen reviews for IGN though.
Well, it's on my Rotten Tomatoes, so
no, but I mean, saying that should be showing on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Either way, 93% it's got audience score, perfectly fine.
Well deserved.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that this can get a bit more push, a bit more. So if everyone could just watch this about 12 times each, then those extra 24, 36 views should hopefully push it over the edge.
Guardians of Justice. That's the other show on Netflix.
Guardians of Justice?
Yeah.
That sounds like that Russian Avengers knockoff.
It's better than that, but it's basically like Watchmen, Avengers, Justice League. It's very weird. It's very odd. I liked it. Zoe didn't like it. But I think if you watch Laserhawk and then you watch this, you'll get this more.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, very good. Go and watch it, Laserhawk. That is, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, Captain Laserhawk and the Blood Dragon remix of Destiny or something. What's it called?
I'm pretty sure it's just Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix.
That's it. Yeah.
You just made up a completely different show.
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna have a little look, Callum, and see if there's like a playlist on Spotify because I'm gonna add that bad boy. If that's
Probably
the case.
will be. But
Right.
while you're doing that, Dan, we're going to wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there you go. Speaking of, the last song that I was just listening to is called. You won't be able to see that definitely,
No.
but it's "Full Moon" by the Road Vikings. And do you know who the Road Vikings are? They wrote the Clutch Nixon song for Far Cry 5.
oh wow, there you go.
You know the
Yeah.
Clutch Nixon. Yeah, that's those guys, and they fucking rock. So go and check the Road Vikings out as well.
Or you go listen to Power Glove, who did a lot of the soundtrack for Blood Dragon.
No.
But if you want to go and check out some other stuff that we've done, you can get to podcastversusplayer.com. It's all going along the bottom of the screen. There's podcasts, there's Let's Plays, there's reviews, and lots of other things. Dan!
Bye.